Today, we're diving into something pretty amazing. We're going to decode an ancient language, a system our ancestors used to literally read the sky, long before we had any of our modern technology. It's called Wu-Yun Li-Qi, and you can think of it as nature's hidden code.
I mean, just think about that for a second. With no weather apps, no satellites, no supercomputers, how could a farmer possibly know if the year was going to bring a drought or a flood? How could a doctor figure out what kind of illnesses might be coming? It sounds impossible, right? Well, they had a secret.
And this was their secret, Wu-Yun Li-Qi. The best way to think about it is like an ancient natural code, almost like a heavenly script. Now, to us, these characters might look indecipherable, but for them, they held the key to understanding the climate's entire personality for the year ahead.
And let's be really clear, this isn't about superstition or guesswork. It's actually a super sophisticated model that was documented over 2,000 years ago in the Yellow Emperor's Inner Canon, which is one of the founding texts of Chinese medicine. This was their science, and it was built on centuries of just meticulously observing the world around them.
So for this first section, we're going to do just that. We're going to open up their ancient toolkit and translate this natural language. We'll see exactly how they pieced together these fundamental forces of the universe to create a system that could actually make predictions. Their model was really built on a few core concepts. You had qi, which wasn't just air, it was the life force energy that made everything happen. You had yin and yang, that constant dance between opposites like light and dark. Then you had the 5 elements, not just materials, but 5 distinct patterns of change. And finally, the celestial stems and earthly branches. This was their calendar, and it was a way to give every single year its own unique energetic signature. This was basically their form of data collection. So how does this whole toolkit come together? Well, the absolute best way to understand Wu-Yun Li-Qi is to imagine that each year is a giant, 365-day symphony. Trust me, this metaphor makes the whole thing just click. Now, this symphony has 2 main parts. On one side, you've got Wu-Yin, or the 5 movements. This is the year's melody. It's the main theme that defines the whole year's character. Is it going to be a hot year, a damp one, a windy one? That's the melody. And on the other side, you've got Lu-Qi, the 6 energies. This is the rhythm, the 6 predictable beats of the climate that unfold as the seasons go by. So let's zoom in on that melody first. The Wu-Yun is determined by the celestial stem of the year from that ancient calendar. What it does is assign one of the 5 elements to be the dominant climate personality for the whole year, and there are 5 possible melodies it can play. First up, you could have a wood melody. A Wu-Yun year is all about wind and changeability. Think of those unpredictable breezes in springtime. It's a year defined by movement, growth, and sometimes pretty sudden shifts in the weather.
Then there's the fire melody. This one's pretty easy to guess. It means heat. A fire-yun year is intense, it's expansive, and it's hot. And the source gives us a brilliant way to think about this. It's a lot like a modern El Niño year, where global temperatures are just noticeably higher. That's the vibe of a fire you.
Next is the earth melody. Now, earth represents stability, but it also brings dampness. This is the kind of year where humidity and moisture are the main theme. Think of a long, humid, rainy season where the air just feels heavy and everything feels a little bit wet. The metal melody brings the total opposite, dryness. A metal yun year is all about cooling, contracting, and a real lack of moisture. It's that feeling of crisp, clear autumn air that just seems to pull all the humidity away. And finally, we have the water melody. This one brings the cold. A water yun year is defined by stillness and a deep, penetrating chill. And again, we get a fantastic modern comparison. This is a lot like a La Niña year, which is known for bringing colder than average temperatures. So that's the year's main melody. But of course, the weather isn't just one single note held for 365 days. That's where the symphony's rhythm comes in, the Lu-Qi. These are the 6 predictable beats that mark how the seasons progress. And here's the cool part. Unlike the melody, which changes every year, this rhythm is always the same. It is the reliable beat of the seasons. Every single year, nature moves through these 6 phases in this exact order. You get the wind of spring, then the heat and intense fire of summer, the dampness of late summer, the dryness of autumn, and finally, the deep cold of winter.
All right, this is where the magic really happens. It's when the year's unique melody combines with that unchanging rhythm of the seasons. This interaction, this is the secret to the system's predictive power.
So sometimes the melody and the rhythm are just perfectly in sync. For example, imagine it's a fire melody year, so it's already set up to be hot. Then we get to the summer months, and the natural rhythm of fire arrives.
Well, when you combine a fire melody with a fire rhythm, their effects get amplified. The result? You get an extremely hot year with a high chance of heat waves and drought.
But what happens when they clash? Let's say we have a water melody year, which is predisposed to be cold. Well, when the hot fire rhythm of summer shows up, those two forces actually counteract each other. The cold melody tempers the hot rhythm, and what you get is a much milder, more balanced summer. And this just brilliantly shows how the system can predict nuance, not just extremes.
Of course, we have to remember that context matters. This whole model was developed based on observations from one specific place, China's Yellow River Central Plain, a region with 4 very distinct seasons. So, while the core principles are totally universal, the system is meant to be flexible. You'd need to adjust the parameters if you're in a tropical jungle or up in the Arctic. It's a framework, not some rigid dogma.
Okay, so this is all fascinating as, a piece of history. But what does it actually mean for us today? In our final section, we're going to answer that so what question by looking at how we can use this ancient code to live in a bit more harmony with our environment right now.
This is where it gets super practical. The ancients believed each year's melody directly impacts our health. So, for example, in a hot fire yin year, you might have more heart stress or trouble sleeping. The advice? Eat cooling foods like bitter melon. If it's a damp earth yin year, you might feel sluggish and heavy. The solution is to eat foods that help digestion, like yams or job's tears. For a dry metal yin year, you want to focus on moistening foods like pears and honey. And in a cold water yin year, well, you want to eat warming foods like ginger and hearty soups.
And it goes way beyond just your diet. Windy wood yin year, when your mood might be all over the place, things like meditation can really help keep you centered. In a hot fire yin year, it just makes sense to go for a swim or work out in the cooler morning hours. And during a damp earth yin, when you feel that heavy, sluggish feeling, just getting out for a daily walk can be a total game changer.
At the end of the day, this whole system points to a really beautiful philosophy the ancients called Tien Ren Hei, which means the unity of nature and humanity. The goal isn't just to passively sit back and accept whatever the weather throws at you. It's to understand the music that nature is playing so that we can learn how to dance in rhythm with it.
And that leaves us with a final thought. By understanding these ancient principles, we can start to see our year not just as a bunch of random weather events, but as a coherent piece of music. So, I'll leave you with this question. What symphony is playing right now, and how well are you listening? Thanks for tuning in.